She had raised her hand from the back of the room and she asked the question that everyone was thinking. But how do you handle when someone really pushes back? They argue, they disagree, they refuse to align, they challenge your authority. How do you influence that person? I'm Teresa Quinlan, EQ Executive Coach, and since 2017, I've been in front of thousands of leaders, coaching, training, speaking on the intersection of emotional intelligence and leadership excellence. This question isn't rare. In almost every keynote, workshop, presentation, it shows up. And my answer is almost always the same. I didn't answer her question directly. Instead, I asked her a question. How are you handling it already? This experienced senior director gave a reasonable answer. She gave space for the person to talk. She's asking questions to understand. She reiterated expectations. And then she stopped talking. So I asked her, and then what happened? Because you're asking how to influence this person. Am I correct in assuming that those three things didn't work? She nodded and said, yep, it didn't work. So then I asked her, when did you hold them accountable, formally? And she shook her head, I didn't. So logically I asked, why not? And something happened in the room. It went silent. You could feel the silence. I watched as heads turned towards me and they turned back towards her. I saw them scooch in their seats a bit forward, adjust their bodies. You could tell everyone was thinking the same thing. They wanted her answer to validate their own avoidance. She swallowed. Even from on stage, I could see her swallowing. And then she said, I guess I was afraid of how they'd push back if I asked them to fall in line, afraid that they'd quit, afraid that they would gossip and their gossip would influence other people and make things harder. Like so many leaders, her fear, and by extension her nervous system, made the decision, not logic. Her emotions, left unattended, hijacked logic and rational thinking, hijacked her ability to use even her emotional intelligence skills. And instead of stepping up to the moment, she caved in the moment. And she let a really vital leadership moment pass her by. Because moments like this, it isn't about incompetence or even external chaos. In moments like this, what derails your leadership is your own internal patterns. What happens in the moment is stemming from internal default, internal repetition. Once you understand what's really happening in those moments, you can correct them. And you correct them by flexing really specific emotional intelligence skills. Pattern one is recognizing when and with whom you avoid, not why. So if I ask you right now to write down a list of people you avoid disagreeing with or holding accountable or asserting yourself to, like speaking up towards, whose names would you write down on that list? And then ask yourself, when? When do you avoid them? Is it certain topics you don't feel confident about? Is it certain influential people? Certain states of well-being, like when you're hungry, stressed, or overwhelmed? It's much easier to spot when and who that you avoid. And once you can see that, you can access the deeper patterns of what and why. Because what and why are about the internal stories that you create. They are about the emotions that lead you to avoid or get aggressive or go silent or be passive, to withdraw, to stumble, to cave, anything that isn't the action that you wish you would have taken. So when I asked the senior director, when did you formally hold them accountable? I was naming the expectation of leadership for that moment. When someone isn't aligning technically or behaviorally, you address it as a leader. So after she had answered that she didn't, I looked at the whole audience and I smiled. And then I shared that as a young leader, I took holding people accountable seriously. It was part of a promise that I made to my team, to coach, to guide, to develop, and to elevate them to their highest performance, even beyond what they thought was possible. And that promise included addressing behavioral problems, broken expectations, bad behavior, violating promises. I used our performance improvement tools to create a plan for their growth. Then I said to the whole room, performance improvement plans aren't bad. They aren't evil. They aren't negative. But when you tell yourself that they are, when you tell yourself that accountability is mean, or that people aren't going to like you, or they'll be upset, or that they're going to quit, you create an emotional climate that isn't real. It's not fact. And that story that you're telling, that drives avoidance. Or it could drive aggression or silence, but it's all the same. It drives you away from the thing that it is that you want to be doing. So herein is the point. Stop driving your nervous system to reactivity from your storytelling. And instead start noticing what it is that you tell yourself that derails rational thinking. Start telling yourself the truth instead. The other person isn't the problem. In these situations around accountability, in these situations when your nervous system gets hijacked, it's not because of what the other person has done or is doing. In those moments, you're the problem. Your jacked up nervous system is a byproduct of the stories that you tell yourself. And it's a lack of emotional mastery at the foundation. How the other person responds to you holding them accountable, that's their thing. You can understand their barriers, you can clarify expectations, you can ask for their commitment. And when a direct report tells you they won't align, they won't commit with the company's direction, you can give them 24 hours to think about it. Let them know that refusing alignment is the equivalent to handing in their resignation. Sometimes what is the hardest to do in leadership is to tell the truth. It's to tell the truth and ask the question when someone says, I refuse to align, to ask them, do you really mean that? Your nervous system doesn't need to get all fired up because of someone else's reaction or because of someone else's words. Your job is to stay grounded in the objectivity, to instead speak from your wisdom, to name natural and imposed consequences. Like in leadership, you're the one holding the line of what is accepted and what is not accepted. In essence, your job is to call people out, but also call them up. And you can do that by staying grounded in your own authority and competence as a leader. Authority doesn't mean power that you use over people. It's power that you share with people. That's what calling out and up is. It's a shared power towards the outcome. If you found this helpful, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.